Hey, congratulations! What was your major? Thanks! Gender studies, you? Feminist and queer studies. That's awesome! Do you have a job lined up? No. Do you?
Oh my god, you cannot make this shit up. This, yeah, like, guys, a lot of these university degrees are scams. Like, you can't go into, like, these ultra-liberal fields and expect to get a job. If you're not going to university for the express purpose of becoming, of getting a job that actually pays you good money, then you are wasting your time. You're just paying to get indoctrinated. So here are some examples of actual good careers: doctor, lawyer, pharmacist, nurse, engineer, IT, computer science, etc. All of these things are good. Architect. If you're doing anything else, basically at university, you are literally wasting your life. You are spending thousands of dollars that you could have been making instead on getting brainwashed. Like, it is literally the stupidest thing you could possibly do. One of them, anyway. Okay, let's continue.
No, but I do have a bunch of student debt that I need to pay off.
Exactly.
It's so unfair. I know, right? Education is a human right. Yeah, exactly. I don't see what's so hard about the taxpayers paying off these useless degrees we just got. For real. Anyways, enjoy unemployment.
Exactly. Like, yeah, and then they expect other people to pay their to pay for their stupid decisions. Hello and welcome to the Helios blog. My name is Helios, here for another reaction video. If you're new to the channel, liking the content, please hit the sub, hit all for notifications. If you're listening on the podcast, give me a 5-star review, give me a follow. If you'd like me to comment on a video, compilation, maybe a blog post, please send the link to theheliosblog@gmail.com. Also, if you agree or disagree with any of my points, please leave it in the comment section. That's what it's for. Let's continue. If the pay gap is real, then why don't businesses only hire women? Well, exactly. There is no pay gap. It's called a choice gap. I actually made a video on that. If you only had to pay women 70% of what you pay a man, you would never hire a woman ever. You'd never hire a man ever, because you would save so much money just hiring women. But we don't see businesses full of only women, so why is that? Well, the reason is because it's been illegal to pay men and women different wages for exactly the same job. But if the choices are different, then they could be paid differently. So for example, let's say you have a 30-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman, but the woman has decided to have children, so she's been on mat leave 2 or 3 of those years between the age of 20 and 30. Well, then the woman would only have 7 years seniority, whereas the man would have 10. And so the man is being paid more at the age of 30 than the woman for the same position. But that's because of the choice that the woman made to have children, not because there's a pay gap. You see? All right, let's continue. I'm just trying not to get
The reason why men hate this new generation of women so much is because we're finally starting to realize how powerful we are.
Realistically.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why men are upset today and walking away from relationships is totally because women are realizing their own value. It has nothing to do with entitlement, narcissism, treating men poorly, making terrible decisions, or anything like that. No. It has entirely to do with women discovering their own self-worth, because before they didn't know their worth and were manipulated. Thank you, women's studies major who has been brainwashed by propaganda to believe these stupid ideas. Enjoy your cats and boxed wine. All right, let's continue.
We are the weakest generation of women in American history. We're living in the most egalitarian time when it comes to genders. The equality fight was not ours. It was our great-grandparents and our grandparents' fight. And they fought that fight so we wouldn't have to. We're living in a time where we're not only equal to men judged by our merits, we're also given advantages simply for being females.
That's right. So you literally live in a time where it's rules for thee and not for me, and you're still complaining. That's literally 2022 in a nutshell. And still complaining, right? Because you feel like you're not getting enough benefits. No, you are the literal most privileged group of women in all of human history. You are more wealthy and treated better than queens were in the past. I'm not kidding. That is not an exaggeration. And you're still complaining. You are that entitled. And then you wonder why men won't marry you. They won't marry you because you act like an entitled princess. And if you act like an entitled princess, there is no way you're going to get a marriage. Enjoy your cats and boxed wine. Please leave a comment if you agree or disagree. Let's continue.
For the sake of diversity. Yet all we do is complain. All we do is blame our gender for why we can't do something. Men aren't the ones suppressing us. Women suppress women. As women, we are the last ones to go and support another woman. We're the
no, actually, that's not true. This girl is just pandering, right? She's trying to gain internet sympathy by what's it called? Virtue signaling, right? She's saying to men, look at how unwoke I am. Look at how much I know. But there is a positive. It's that a woman is broadcasting the message, and because women are privileged class, they're allowed to speak their mind. They're allowed to say whatever they want. So that a woman is saying this is actually good, despite this girl's virtue signaling. But the only way I would say that women hold each other down is in relationship competition. So what happens is, let's say you have two girlfriends, okay? So they're friends with each other. One gets married or has a really successful long-term relationship, and one doesn't. And both girls are, you know, woke liberal types. The second girl is actively going to try to sabotage the relationship with the first girl because she's jealous that the other girl has a relationship, and so she's going to tell her, no, don't wash the dishes, no, don't cook for your man, no, don't please your man, just do whatever you want. And then you'll see that and then the relationship will explode, and then the girl whose relationship just broke, she will then blame the man, right? But actually it was her friend who sabotaged her. Okay, please leave a comment if you agree or disagree. Let's continue.
The first ones to critique them and the first ones to bring them down, but the last ones to support them, and yet all we do is blame men. We live in a society where as women we're valued for simply existing. A man with no job and no potential has no value to society.
Absolutely true. And in fact, many women, or I would argue most women, are blind to the fact that a man's experience compared to a woman's experience is vastly different, right? A man who's 20 years old versus a woman who's 20 years old, you cannot even compare the two realities. They are so different. It's almost like there's two different species or two different animals existing. Women literally get free stuff just for being 20 years old. It's not what they've earned. It's not what they provide. It's not the value they bring. It's literally they exist and they're 20 years old, therefore they're valuable. And the reason is because men prize youth and fertility, something you don't have to work for. Whereas women don't prize that. Women prize protection and provisioning. And both of those things are things that men have to work to have. Protection, they have to be strong, fit, good at fighting, whatever. And provisioning, they have to be successful in the world, competitive against other men, able to provide resources and value. This is not something that women have to do. And so they don't understand the difference in reality between men and women. This point that the girl is making is valuable.
Yet a woman with no job and children is still valued in society simply for existing.
Why I think modern feminism is f***ing stupid. Part 3. Today, we are going to be talking about how gas pumps are sexist. This woman accused the gas station of sexism because the pumps were designed for male hands. As the article stated, she's a petite mom of 2 and has tiny hands, so it hurts when she pumps gas. Now, obviously, this woman is in a different country. I don't know how gas pumps work there, but of course, the American feminists ate this the f*** up.
It's utterly ridiculous, right? It's just any excuse to complain, right? Any excuse to whinge is what's taken, right? It's not, how about you get a man so that the man can do it for you? How about you have pleasant behavior and not be a single mom so that you don't have to complain about this? Instead of saying that the pump is too big for me, I can't hold it or whatever. Like use a clamp. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, this is ridiculous.
Complaining about how gas pumps are designed for male hands, let me show you a quick, easy little mechanism that helps a lot. Now just lock it or get the f*** over it. Your choice. Pumping gas is pretty f***ing inconvenient already, but y'all just have to make a goddamn mess, don't ya?
Disaster. Thanks.
If you're a white person, you can't wait to get super tan and you can't say Black Lives Matter and you're not an ally and you can't stand for your Black, brown, indigenous, people of color, friends and family, then do everyone a favor and tanning is not for you.
What? What is this logic? So unless you support various groups of people that have different colors than you, then you can't tan? What? Again, this is just an example of like a girl that's gone to university to be brainwashed, right? And because she's gone to university and been brainwashed, she says stuff like this. Again, this has no upvotes, and there's a reason. It's like very extreme views. Like what is this? Like, it's too low IQ to even be virtue signaling. Okay, let's continue. Like, what is this?
So,
Hey, Mr. Sun. Sorry. I didn't mean to assume your gender. Please don't get offended. But you and your UV rays are canceled for making white people a little bit darker in the summer. Canceled.
What a disaster. Okay, let's move on. This is stupid. Okay, next.
There you go, guys. Problem solved.
Am I the only one that thinks it's extremely ironic that at the Women's March this year, they were actively marching against a woman? Like, the left is really only feminist when it comes to left-wing women.
Absolutely. Not only is this true, it's ultra true. So again, I've described what the actual role of or purpose of feminism in 2022 is, and the purpose of womanism is not to advance women's rights or equality. No, the purpose of womanism is power. Right? The purpose of womanism is power, women's power over men. And the point is to maintain the matriarchy. The matriarchy is the current gynocentric social order we live in, the order that favors women over men and everything else. In every single dimension that you can imagine, right? And so, because the movement exists in order to gain power, anybody who is going against any of their tenets must be shamed, because womanism is kind of like a religion, right? So, well, not kind of, it is a religion. So basically, any woman who doesn't believe all of womanism's leftist tenets, they are to be shamed and kicked from the in-group, right? Just like a religion. And so that's why you have marches of womanists against more conservative women, because the point of the womanist movement is not conservatism or a return to the patriarchy and male power. No, the purpose of womanism is the maintenance of the gynocracy of female power, right? So it makes total sense why the movement would be even against women that don't follow the rules, because again, it's just like a religion. Okay, let's continue.
My son died.
When I tell women my age that I hate modern day womanism, and then it's like some movie scene where somebody's shouting, or you could substitute the "how dare you" sound clip, I guess. But anyway, there is no womanism that was not about power, gynocracy, and about promoting women in a religious sense over men. There is no womanism that is not that. It's not first wave womanism was good and second and third wave womanism are bad. No. All womanism's goal was to arrive at this conclusion, at this place that we are now. So it's just in the early stages, it hadn't, taken root. It hadn't taken hold. So it wasn't, the effects were not prevalent in society yet. So that's why this girl's saying modern day womanism, she hates it, but she doesn't hate womanism. That's actually not true. It's the no true Scotsman fallacy, right? Like a real womanist would believe in equality. No, a real womanist is supporting the religion that promotes female power, right? Over men, and the control of men, and the maximal chaining of hypergamy, right? So no, this is ridiculous stuff here. Okay, again, and it's just virtue signaling what this girl is saying. Let's move on to the next one. I don't feel like hearing this girl's explanation.
The difference between me and liberals is that while I may not agree with what you say, I will fight like hell for your right to say it.
Indeed. So, and 2022 cancel culture is a perfect example of this. That if you speak your mind against the modern religion, which is womanism, if you speak against it, you will lose your job, you'll lose potential employment, you'll lose the bread out of your mouth, you'll be socially ostracized, etc. Again, it's basically like how Christianity was like 500, 600 years ago, right? Like, in the West anyway. Like, if you don't believe Christianity, then you would be literally jailed, right? So that is where this movement is headed as well, womanism. It's basically just a modern day religion, right, for the masses. And I agree entirely. The point of free speech is that you should be able to say what it is you want to say without the repercussion of going to jail, losing your job, etc. Right? But that isn't how it works. In 2022, if you go against the modern religion, well, there's going to be very negative outcomes. And so now you can understand why I have my my little avatar here. That's why. Okay, let's continue.
Would you do the same for me?
Let's say this represents minimum wage. Minimum wage is a floor. It's a place to start. This is where you can go for minimum wage through education, job training, years of job experience, or other jobs that pay more than minimum wage. The argument is that if you increase minimum wage, you can actually bring people more to a standard of living that might be, let's say, here. That's a flawed argument because this is still minimum wage. It's still the minimum. It still goes here. That means when you increase it, everybody else has to be paid more again, which means companies go, how do I pay all of these people that increase? Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to absorb responsibility up the ladder. I'm going to expect more of these employees. I'm going to cut my overhead. I'm going to get rid of these people. And now these are the only people working. And these people don't have jobs. We do not need a minimum wage increase. We need to provide education and job training.
That's actually a very good argument for not increasing the minimum wage. Something that I also wanted to mention is this idea of increasing minimum wage. Let's tie this into education. So, in order to be successful in your life, you have to either go into a career that provides you a good income, something in the skilled trade, something like that, start your own business, or you go to university for a career that actually provides you money. Any other option that you choose, any other one, will lead to extremely devastating consequences to you down the line. So you do not want to go to university, for example, in brainwashed studies, which is, any sort of social science other than psychology if you're trying to be a psychiatrist. But to be a psychiatrist, you need a PhD in psychology. So it's many, many years of education. So you can do the opportunity cost analysis of that amount of education versus the amount of money you would have gained had you chosen a different career. But anyway, so you can't do any sort of social science other than maybe psychology. You could argue for that. You can't do any sort of liberal art. You can't do any sort of art unless you're going into architecture. But even then, you're not really studying arts. It's more of an applied arts degree, which is useful. Like you could do something like graphic design. Although graphic designer won't make you as much money as, let's say, a programmer. So you make your own decision there. But anyway, you need to go into a career at university, if you are choosing to go that path, that actually can give you a good salary. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, pharmacist, accountant, programmer, IT, etc. You choose. And in certain Western countries, like let's say Northern Europe, Scandinavia, you could be a teacher as well. That has a good salary. Or in Canada, you could be a teacher. But teacher isn't a good job in every country. You need to research that. The point is, if you're wasting your time on a terrible degree, you waste all of that money that you would have gained had you actually gone into that job that would have actually provided you money. You can't afford in the modern world to waste your time on useless garbage, because the world is becoming more and more difficult, more and more competitive. You can't afford to waste money on brainwashed studies. All right, let's continue. Notice how the people doing this dance are the same ones who preach, stop treating women as objects. And then there's like, oh, I see. So the idea is listen to their listen to their actions and not their words. So they say stop treating women as objects, but they actively objectify themselves. So, I mean, you can't make this up, right? Like, if women are objectifying themselves, there are things women can do and things women can say that make them more likely to be treated as objects by people, right? And not understanding that your actions have consequences leads to very negative results in the future. Okay, let's continue here. Again, leave a comment if you agree or disagree with my points here.
Teaching women how to protect themselves is not victim blaming. Promoting self-responsibility and accountability is not victim blaming.
That's right. It's not. So the point is, I mean, I basically said that in my last, point. But by the way, I can make an argument that this girl here is virtue signaling because she has a bunch of red flags. She has tattoo on her chest. She has short hair that's dyed an interesting color. She has the sad eyes that comes with a too high N count. But anyway, let's not digress. So it's not blaming a person or being terrible to a person to tell them to actively choose things and to make choices that promote good outcomes, right? So if you dress in a certain way to attract attention, you shouldn't then complain about the attention you're receiving. If you don't want that attention, dress differently. You have a say, and you have influence over the things that happen to you in your life. And not being able to take accountability and responsibility for your own actions, it will lead to very negative consequences, especially for women. All right. Well, it's very bad for men as well. I'm specifically talking about women right now. Okay. Here is our Reddit post from Relationship Advice. My brother is dating my ex, and it's ruining our family. Here we go. Back in 2010, I met this girl after she followed my brother home from school. I was 7 and she was 9. Oh, it's gonna be that long a story. Okay. We became friends fast. We would hang out every single day. After about 6 years, we ended up dating, and it lasted for about 8 months. She broke up with me by saying, I don't like girls anymore. Oh. It's a girl who is dating a girl, and then oh man, this is drama. Okay. After our breakup, we continued being friends, and she started to date my big brother. At this time, I was 13, and she and my brother were 15. From 2016 to 2020, I was in the middle of her and my brother's relationship. She told me way too much about everything, and every time they had a fight, both of them would talk crap about one another to me. It was usually up to me to settle the disputes. I started to slowly realize what a terrible woman she was. I realized that during our friendship, she'd blackmailed me to stay friends with her, and she used me to get my brother, and altogether just manipulated me. Uh-oh. So you're saying the girl manipulated the whole situation. You know what this sounds like, guys? Actually, the way that this is being described, it's almost like AFBB. It's almost like she went with like an alpha male, right? And then she has a beta male to take care of her problems, you know, to talk to shoulder to cry on, to etc. etc. Yeah, that's what she's doing, except she's doing it with a woman instead of with a man. But this is what women do. Very often they do this. During the summer of 2021, I'd had enough. I cut her out of my life as much as possible. After that, she stared daggers at me anytime she'd see me. As more time went on, I started to realize more and more crappy things about her in my past. It got to a point where it would physically hurt to see her. Nowadays, even her smell can trigger me. My brother is a lot like me, a marshmallow, no backbone. He says he's in love with her even though he has admitted that he could get someone better. He has almost no friends and I rarely get to see him. I have no hate for my brother because I'm sure she's doing the same things to him as she did to me. We grew up super close, but every year he's with this woman, he grows more distant, and I'm afraid I'll lose him. So, again, this sort of thing is sounding a lot like narcissism to me. The girl only cares about herself, and she's not afraid of manipulating to get what she wants, right? Between last Christmas and New Year's, stuff really hit the fan. My bro is now 21. Came to my room and asked me why I hate my ex. I told him everything, the manipulation, the blackmail. I even showed screenshots of her being mean to me. I broke down. A few days later, my ex came to my room. She stood at my room door and told me that we had to talk. She cornered me in my room, making it impossible for me to get out. Okay, this girl here is, what she's saying is, she's trying to make herself look like the victim here by saying that she's cornered. My brother told her everything I told him, and now she was screaming at me about how I was a liar. This was the biggest fight I've ever been in. We were shouting for over an hour. She accused me of being obsessed with her because I had some screenshots. Told her she'd never manipulated me or my brother. The things from our childhood should stay in our childhood. During this fight, I told her multiple times to leave my room. For the longest time, she didn't. She eventually left my room because I refused to talk anymore. So again, this is basically two girls that are not able to accept responsibility. After the fight, I had a panic attack. My big sister came to comfort me. In the meanwhile, my ex went to our bathroom with medication. She took too much and went back to my brother's room like nothing happened. And then okay, so no. There's definitely something wrong with the ex. There's something wrong because she was taking medication in order to go to the hospital. Yeah. This is a total disaster, guys. So again, the moral of this story, guys. The moral of this story, and then the boyfriend blamed her after this. So the moral of this story, guys, is you need to stay away from the unhappy and the unlucky, right? If people are like this, you can't associate with them. They will destroy your life. And then the brother refused to even break up with the girl. Yeah, this is classic, right? Classic, like, basically, the guy feels that this girl is his only access to bedroom fun, and so he refuses to give up on her. And she uses that in order to manipulate the guy. And then I'll bet you that this girlfriend, she's going to then sleep with another guy as well. Because, again, dualistic mating strategy, right? That would be my guess. Okay, let's see what the comments are like here. 1.3k upvotes. Don't do anything. If you do, your brother will forever blame you for breaking them up. Your brother has to make this realization on his own. You have to wait until that happens. Okay, so just blame the brother. Cool. Let's see some more upvotes. Okay. Yeah. So basically the comments are saying, don't help the brother. He needs to figure it out on his own that the girl is bad. In fact, I would say talk to the brother and try to talk sense into him because he will ruin his life. But then after that, once you've tried, if he doesn't make the right decision, you need to back off. I agree with that. All right, I think we're going to end the video there. Again, if you're liking the video, if you're new to the channel, please hit the sub button, hit all for notifications. If you're on the podcast, give me a 5-star review, give me a follow. If you agree or disagree with my points, please use the comment section. That's what it's for. If you'd like me to comment on, video compilation, blog post, send it to theheliosblog@gmail.com. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my video. I know you guys are busy too. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please remember to do all of the following. Like the video for the algorithm. Comment on the video. I respond to all comments and I'll give you a heart. Subscribe and hit the bell so you can see my content on your feed. Check out all of my content on other platforms. It spreads the reach of the channel. YouTube, bit.ly/heliosyoutube. Rumble, bit.ly/heliosrumble. My blog is realheliosblog.com. My podcast, bit.ly/heliospodcast. My Patreon, patreon.com/theheliosblog. You can also support the show at bit.ly/heliosdonations and buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. Thank you so much for all of your support.